Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week. Today is Monday, November 16th, and my name is Bettina Swigger. I'm the CEO of Downtown SLO, and each week we come to you with our response and recovery call, trying to keep you as up to date as we possibly can in this rapidly changing situation that is the year 2020 and likely to be the year 2021 as well. So thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We've got a lot of great speakers for you this morning to try to make sense of the reality that we're living through. We had a meeting of our Downtown SLO Board of Directors last week, and I want to thank each of the board members for their participation and service this year. We will be having a Board of Directors election. We have a couple of spots available for that, and we will be sharing more information about the process for self-nomination in the probably next month. Our main focus over the coming 6 weeks is really on the holidays and how we can best support people to come downtown, shop safely, and explore the downtown in the COVID reality so that we can keep our holiday shopping seasons up to date and keep your businesses safe and open as much as they can be. Our board has really been focusing on a wonderful raffle, and we had the second of 4 raffle prize drawings on Saturday. So thank you to our Vice President, Laura Mullen, for participating in that raffle drawing. And we still have some great prizes ahead. Our goal is to raise $15,000, and so far we've raised $10,580. So thanks to all of you who have purchased tickets, and to all of you wonderful businesses who have donated merchandise, gift cards, or experiences to the raffle. We've been really overwhelmed by the spirit of generosity, and we appreciate you giving so generously during this time when things have been so uncertain. So the funds that we raise during this program are going to go toward our holiday activities and some of our beautification efforts. So thank you, and if you want to buy tickets, you can call Cassidy at 805-234-9677. We'll have our third of our 4 drawings this Saturday, November 21st. And you can see we have some wonderful packages. This week we'll have 5 packages. There's a one-night stay and golf at the Apple Farm and Black Lake Golf Resort. There's some fantastic shopping opportunities. There's some meals. There's cookbooks, children's toys, $200 to the Granada Hotel and Bistro, all kinds of fantastic things. And many of you who I see on the screen right now have donated to the raffle. So again, thank you very much. We will be leading up to our final prize drawing, which will take place on Saturday, November 28th, which is our Shop Small Saturday. And that will wrap up our raffle as well as officially kick off the holiday season. We also have a holiday tree decorated in our window with lots of bags from shops downtown. So I hope when you are walking by on Churro Street, you can take a look at the shiny Christmas lights on our tree and see all of the wonderful businesses featured there. And let's go into where we're at today. So Rachel Maiorino, talk to us.
Thanks, Bettina. So as of Friday, we were at 5,038 cases of COVID-19 that have been reported in our county. The city of SLO accounts for 1,098 of those cases. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 is 33 in our county, so remaining the same as last week, but our thoughts are with the loved ones of those 33 individuals who have passed. Testing is available, and I really encourage you to go learn more at readyslo.org. We have unfortunately hit a 1 million case confirmed in the US over a 1-week period, which is quite a large number, but there is good news. I wanted to leave you with some good news that a second vaccine was announced today. So even if cases are definitely increasing, there is definitely hope coming down the line. On the next slide, the county remains in the substantial or red tier of the state's blueprint for a safer economy. But we certainly, as you can most likely assume from the numbers I've been reading off the past few weeks, that our numbers are increasing and it's looking like we are moving in the wrong direction back toward tier 1 or the widespread tier. But that will be updated tomorrow. Metrics are released every Tuesday, and Lee may have some more insights on what we're looking like specifically. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Bettina.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, and I do want to just encourage everybody. There's a lot of news about this national and international surge that's happening. So again, the safety measures are in place. You wear your mask, you wash your hands, and keep distance. And we'll do the best we can to get through the next few months. But it is definitely good news about another vaccine becoming available. Up first on our speakers today, we're going to have Courtney Kino with Cal Poly. Courtney, how are you hanging in?
Well, you know, good. Thanks, Bettina, and thanks, Rachel, for that update. We are in our final week of in-person classes, final 5 days, allowing student campus. This Saturday, all students, unless there are special circumstances or if they're under the isolation or a current isolation or quarantine order, will leave to go to their permanent residences. Unfortunately, COVID-19 cases have continued to increase at Cal Poly as they're nationally, as Rachel mentioned. The stats as of Friday are that Cal Poly had 578 total positive cases. That's 116 more than I reported to you last week. Currently isolated on campus are 107. We have 7 in quarantine and 1,085 are quarantined in place. Our Vice President of Student Affairs, Keith Humphrey, sent out a message to students this past week asking them to consider leaving early if they're feeling well and have no known exposure to COVID-19 positive people. They are expected to test before they go, and we've been multiple times over the past few weeks strongly encouraging students to limit activities and interactions to essential functions only. So go to class, go to work, get food, get your mail, and please be limited in any other kind of interaction. We have worked and are continuing to work really closely with the public health department to identify where the clusters of spread are originating from. We're isolating and quarantining students as appropriate and messaging, like I said, across campus in a number of ways, not only about reiterating wearing your mask and physical distancing and those kind of things, but also the consequences for not doing so, both off campus and on campus. I feel like I want to do a contest right now, but I feel like that would only be fun for me to tell you how many tests that we have conducted over the course of this period since July. We've done 24,000 tests for students, and then a little bit over 1,500 for staff and faculty. So quite a bit. Looking ahead to winter quarter, all students living on campus or coming to campus for any reason are required to comply with our testing program, which I'll explain in just a second. Students living off campus in the surrounding community are also strongly encouraged. We can't require them, but they're strongly encouraged to make the same appointments and follow our testing schedule. So, as I mentioned, that like set of requirements for testing for students is going to be that students have to get a negative test that they submit to us within 3 to 7 days of arriving on campus. They have to do another test when they arrive within 24 hours of arriving. And then they have to be tested once per week in their first couple weeks that they're here. I've mentioned this before, but we will transition to saliva testing in mid-January. That method should allow us to test much more people and much more quickly. Our current estimate is about 4,000 per day, and the tests will all be processed on campus, which is really a neat thing that I can explain if anyone's interested. And we are also still planning to do wastewater testing at some point in winter quarter. We have enforcement happening on and off campus, and I'll say again, as I did last week, that we're really grateful for the ways that the city and the county are linking arms with us to work together to slow the spread. And that's it for my report this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Courtney. I know that it sounds like the focus is really on testing, and that's of course good. Has there been any discussion about not bringing any students back to campus in January?
I think so. We work really closely with public health department, with our experts, epidemiologists, medical professionals, and I think that that's something that's it's always on the table as an option. But I think that it's not the plan right now. We do plan to bring students back, and with all of these measures in place, and if all of those experts that guide our process were tell us to do differently, we absolutely would. But at this point, they're saying that with the plans we have in place, that we are safe to bring students back.
Okay, thank you. I know you have another obligation that you need to go to. Does anybody else have any questions for Courtney before she hops off? Anyone? Well, thank you so much for being here every week. Thank you for serving on our board and making sure that we get the most up-to-date information that there is, and good luck this week.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, talk to you soon. Thanks. All right, up next, we have Lee Johnson from the city. How are you doing this morning, Lee?
Doing well, Bettina. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, so as Rachel mentioned, the numbers were not good last week. In fact, they were pretty bad. Even with our testing, we ended up with an adjusted case count of 7.2, which is effectively strike one for going back to purple. So tomorrow, if our numbers are again like 7 and above on the adjusted case count, we will go back to purple effective tomorrow, and we have 3 days to move back to purple, which means basically gyms and restaurants are only outside again, along with museums, zoos, aquariums, etc. And retail goes from 50% to 25%. Movie theaters have to close, that kind of stuff. There is a little bit of hope. The county's position is that data is not quite right. There was a big chunk of testing missing from that. We had a new provider getting linked up to the system. And if they go through an adjudication process, if they are able to be successful in that adjudication process and move that 7.2 to below 7.0, that would allow us to stay in red one more week. The numbers don't look good for this week or next week, so we'd probably be going to purple anyway, in an extra week. There is an adjudication process around that too, where if you can prove certain things, you can change your status. So that's ongoing. There's a lot of discussions between the county and the state. I don't know the outcome of those. We're kind of waiting on pins and needles to hear from Dr. Bornstein how that goes and what's able to be accomplished with the state. But I don't have any more. They're expecting some news today. But I haven't heard it yet. I know they're feverishly trying to figure that out. And just so everyone's aware, I mean, we continue to have stepped up enforcement. We have the safety enhancement zone, which doubles fines for certain activities. So we're really trying to do everything we can on an enforcement front to limit the impact and solve some of the things that are causing the problems. We still work for communication and education, but enforcement is being stepped up. People know the rules now. They should be clear on it. And if we're not following them, it's harming everybody. So we're ramping up on that front, and we continue to work with the county and the state and Cal Poly and everybody to do everything we can to improve the situation. That's it for me today.
Great,
Tina,
thank you.
can I add something? Jump back in. Part of, Lee, thanks so much for bringing that up. Part of the attestation to the state, so Dr. Bornstein's petition to the state, is not only that batch of tests wasn't included, but also the fact that Cal Poly is going home this week. So our numbers are just going to shift, because this large population that has been testing positive will no longer be in the area. Thanks.
So then the people who are maybe in our county included in our test are now going to go to their counties and affect their counties' testing numbers?
Well, I think the theory is they're in a less congregated environment when they get home to their, if they leave here tested and safe and they go home to a less congregated environment, they're less likely to do the activities that cause them to be unsafe when they were together in one location.
Right. Now,
And just
I
to
guess,
be clear, there's two adjudications. One is the data from last week, getting that to 7.2, from 7.2 down, but there's also a longer term adjudication of, if we take those cases out, we have some other good numbers that could allow us to stay in red too. So it's kind of a short term, long term, at least my understanding of the adjudication process.
so you might not know the answer to this, but if Cal Poly is sending people who are positive back to other counties, is it possible that, no?
Sorry.
Courtney, go ahead.
Okay. So all of our students in isolation, quarantine, or quarantine in place are staying. They are going to stay in their isolated environment. The students who are leaving, as I mentioned in my report, need to be feeling good, to not have known exposure, and to test before they go.
Okay. I was just imagining a situation where there would be other universities around the state that might be sending people back to our county who are from San Luis Obispo, and then suddenly that would shift our numbers, but it sounds like that's not the case.
At least my understanding is they shouldn't be, and the numbers are two totally different things. The number of students that return here from other places is way, way smaller than the number of students that are here with Cal Poly.
Okay. So there is a comment in the chat that the Cal Poly recognizes that the population is affecting our case levels, but that there still is a plan to bring students back. So it looks like there's some concern about that.
Yeah, and I hear what all of our experts are saying is with the plans that we have in place, that we are safe to bring them back.
Okay, and then Lee, there's another question here. What is the status with bars?
The status is bars are technically closed unless they offer food service. And food service is not a bag of chips. Food service is a traditional meal that is on the same ticket as the alcoholic beverages, et cetera, et cetera. There is a whole list of what constitutes a traditional meal. And we went over that with the police department this morning to make sure that everybody was entirely clear on what that looked like. So we are going, we continue our enforcement, and that is the small gatherings at home, and those situations in the evening hours are also problems. So there's a lot of enforcement on that front.
Okay. So there's an uptick in enforcement.
Uptick in enforcement, just being clear on it. And I also see the question on the testing from Cal Poly. So the amount of testing that Cal Poly did in the early days helped us, prior to their numbers going up, all of that testing helped us stay in red because the community spread at certain times was close enough, like certain weeks were at 8.6 and other 7.5, 7.3 that were over the metric that would have put us back into purple. And with Cal Poly's testing and lack of cases, that kept us in red. So there was a benefit there. Now it's kind of that the testing, all the testing that Cal Poly is doing can't offset what's happening. But at the same time, to be clear, community spread has also gone up. This is not a function of one group of people. It is all over. It is North County, South County, SLO City. It's small group gatherings. It's people not wearing masks. It's all that kind of stuff. It's not one entity or group of people that's causing this. It's a community effort to stop it, and it's a community effort to spread it sometimes. So,
And there are like an individual, I know Courtney, you were talking about accountability for students. They might face academic suspension or expulsion in some circumstances. Are there also, I don't know if it's criminal charges, or are there any kind of fees that or fines that are levied against individuals who are participating in community spread activities?
Yeah, so like Lee was saying, the safety enhancement zone is double fines for people who are found to be in violation of those noise gathering activities. And then it's also within the jurisdiction of the county to be charged with a misdemeanor if you're found to be in violation of those orders. I don't know that the misdemeanor charges have happened, but that is something that we've communicated with students multiple times, that absolutely is an option.
Okay, thank you. I had a conversation, and I just want to take a minute to say, I know everybody's a little worried right now and concerned about going back into the purple tier. But one thing that all of the downtown businesses have really shown over the last 8 months is the ability to be creative and come up with solutions to allow people to continue to support their businesses. And I had a really interesting conversation with somebody about what they were planning in their retail store once they're going down in capacity from 50% to 25%. Thought I'd share this with you all. Some retailers are thinking about bringing in those buzzers like you get at a restaurant, and we will be having a lot of decorations in the downtown during the month of December. So if somebody comes to your shop and they're not able to enter at that moment, you can send them away. They can go look at something, stay 6 feet apart from people, enjoy the decorations and the downtown, and then come back into the shop when there's time for you to let them in. I see one other question about this safety enhancement zone in the chat. Will the officers, I guess, be approaching people about wearing masks, and who will be doing this? Who do you call for help? Lee, can you talk a little about that side of things?
Yes, I can. Let me get all my list of phone numbers here so everybody has them. One, in general, the police will not approach random people on the street about wearing a mask. Number one, if you're 6 feet separated and outdoors, you don't actually have to have one. There's also exceptions. If a business owner says you cannot come in without a mask, and that person becomes, argumentative, whatever, you can call PD in SLO City. You can call PD and they will come and help that person leave your premises. It's trespass. You're entitled to ask them to not come in without a mask, and PD will help enforce that. If you're outside the city and you have a complaint about something that's happening, you can call the county's hotline. So if you're not in the city of SLO and you're outside, you can call the county's hotline at 805-543-2444. If you're inside the city of SLO, you can call our hotline at 805-783-7835. Again, that's 805-783-7835. And that number will have 4 options. One option is to report a business, or if you have questions about what's happening with businesses, that kind of stuff. One option, if you have a business, you can call with questions and we'll answer them. Third option is personal information, like if you want to know personal safety stuff. And then there's a fourth option to report activities in the public space. So in a park or in some other location that's not controlled by a business or a private entity, to report there. So basically there's the county option, there's the city option. All of those phone lines are attended. They may not be answered when you call, but leave a message and they're all attended every day. Mostly on the business hotline, that's the one that myself and a few other people take care of. Nobody waits more than an hour or two for a call back if they call during business hours. But we try and help everybody, and there's ways to report activities that are dangerous, or if you have questions about what's allowed and not allowed, we also answer those.
Okay, and then there's another question about the percentages of new cases from Cal Poly versus outside Cal Poly. Would these cases, if not present or reduced by not bringing back the students, help us to keep us in the red versus going into purple?
So, and Courtney, jump in if you have a different version, but we know the students on campus in those percentages. What we don't necessarily know are the students who are off campus and how much they're contributing. We have a general idea based on the grouping by age, but that's not set on everybody. You can't necessarily tell exactly how many are associated with Cal Poly. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I think we would still be in trouble without Cal Poly contribute. If you took away net Cal Poly testing and cases, we'd probably still be over where we need to be as we move forward. But that's just a kind of guess. But that's, when Dr. Bornstein talked about last week, she was clear that it was across the community, and the numbers are going the wrong way across all groups. So it's not simple, right? It's a complicated situation that we're in.
Mm-hmm. And thanks, Lee. And I'll just add to that too, that Dr. Bornstein she told me late last week that it's these weeks sometimes feel like lifetimes, and so much can change. And so everyone is tracking all of it really closely, and we're all working really closely together to be as on top of it as we can.
Yes, thank you. And I think there's a little bit of a human need to try to identify one sector of something as sort of the thing that you could maybe fix when we're in a complicated situation like this. And if we can look at all of what's happening all over the nation and indeed the world, this virus is going to be a virus and infect you, no matter if you are in the 18 to 29, or if you're a college student, or if you're a restaurant employee, or if you're staying at home as much as possible. There's the very real possibility that you could contract this virus. We're in a pandemic. So you can just do the best you can to stay safe. In some ways, this reminds me of some of the conversations that we had, at the beginning of all of this, many months ago. It's sort of a new era. And even though the public health experts have been telling us that this winter was going to be hard, it's now happening, and it's probably going to get harder before it gets better. So let's switch topics just a little bit, though, and talk about something that is specific to our downtown, and that's everybody's favorite topic. And that is, of course, parking. Gavin, our parking manager, how's that for a segue into some good news from Gavin?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So tough subject to follow up, but so I think we have some good news for everyone. Last week we did receive approval to offer some free parking in the parking structures throughout the holiday season to encourage people to come downtown and shop local and dine local. So we'll be offering Thanksgiving and Christmas free right now. Those are normally days that we're closed. There'll be free parking in the structures and free parking in the meters on those days. We do still enforce safety violations. Beyond that, we are offering Black Friday and Small Business Saturday free in the parking structures. We also will have every Sunday in December free, and then we will be closed or free parking in the structures on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, as well as New Year's Day. So hopefully that gets people to come down and do some of their shopping in the downtown community. We also established several loading zones that you guys saw going a few weeks ago. Signage should be up in those areas now, indicating that there is courtesy pickup in the loading zones. So that's to help support deliveries and food pickup throughout our community. So hopefully that helps spur purchases and helps ease what we might be going back into.
Great. Well, thank you for that update, Gavin. And I know we'll be pushing that out in our holiday promotions, which I'll be telling you a little bit more about in just a minute. I think you're also going to be sending out an updated parking flyer, correct?
Yep. Yeah, starting tomorrow, we'll start distributing that to all the businesses in the downtown area.
Great. So we'll make sure that gets in your member email that all of you get as members of our downtown association. And thank you for pushing for that, Gavin. We really appreciate it. Every little bit helps as we head into the holiday season.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, Rachel, I think you were going to chat a little bit about some of the opportunities to share holiday happenings in your businesses.
Yes, so the city is interested in hearing about what your businesses are doing this holiday season. They have a Google form where they're asking questions such as, what are your promotions for the season? What is your holiday bestseller? If you do anything unique, or that's something that's made in SLO County. So they're really looking to get that input for possible inclusion in the city's holiday promotional efforts, such as social media, blogs, public relations outreach. I know some of you have probably seen the videos that have gone around through the Share SLO. So if you're interested, please, today, I'm gonna pop it in the chat right now. After this call, hop on, complete it, and enter to be able to possibly include it in the city's holiday promotions. Another great way to get your business out there, especially as we've had the first half of this conversation of, this is going to be a tough holiday season, but this is a great opportunity for your retail establishment or restaurant to get highlighted this holiday season.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And I know we were hearing from Jackie at the Chamber, who works on some of the PR work, that they've gotten some great nibbles from some national media. So the sooner you can get your information in there, the more opportunity you have to get some more publicity. I also wanted to share a little bit of an idea for how you can help our downtown this holiday season. Hopefully you are making an effort to curtail your normal Thanksgiving plans with large family gatherings. And if you are usually in the custom of cooking for 10 or 14 people and you're not going to be doing that this year, I really encourage you to order from a restaurant and support them this holiday season for your Thanksgiving feast. And we'll be trying to showcase some of those opportunities in our social media this week. But every little bit helps. So please keep that in mind with your own personal consumption as well. Up next, let's have Jim from the Chamber. How are you doing today, Jim?
Great, Bettina. Good to see you.
You as well.
Yeah, and so just real quick want to start off with we run the I'm the chair of this Central Coast Coalition of Chambers, which is everybody from North Santa Barbara County up to Paso, kind of meeting together to talk about issues. And we are obviously very much talking about this red to purple. And from that conversation, I think one thing we need to do as a community and get the word out is, like you said, Bettina, you nailed it on the head, that it's pretty easy to target one group. And as I was trying to get in the question, there was the idea that there is a bigger spread happening because people are exhausted, right? They're tired of kind of dealing with this thing. And I think we need to just keep whatever we can. We're working on a video to go out to get people to stick with it just a little bit longer because that's, I will say, not in our county. There were some chambers from other counties who were saying that we're done. We're leaving the mask behind and we're just going to go without it. And I get that the sentiment is out there, but as much as we can as a group continue to push. And as you look at those numbers, not all of that increase is coming out of the city of SLO, which is where maybe Cal Poly students might be caught up, but they're coming from all over the county. And so we as a group, I understand we're definitely seeing an increase because of some of the student population, but we need to also talk to our fellow residents because some of this is happening. And I don't think it's happening because of the spread within a business. It's probably happening outside of business. And so we're trying to make that argument from the chamber side to government that the spread isn't necessarily coming from retail stores, right? It might be coming from some other places, but all of this to say we have to be vigilant, and as county residents, that we all do our part to make sure we're driving towards those good, safe outcomes that'll help get us back to red. Stay in red, move towards orange, out of purple, if we can ever somehow do that. From the chamber side, what I'd like to say is we have a very interesting conversation coming tomorrow. If you haven't seen yet, we are doing our State of the State event, which is a great conversation about what happened in our election. We heard so much about the national election, but now we want to talk a little bit about the state elections and what it means. And we'll look forward to 2021. Obviously, there's incredible conversations happening right now about the power of the governor versus the legislature. We have three great panelists tomorrow. Cassandra Pai, who was Deputy Chief of Staff for Governor Schwarzenegger. Karen Skelton, who has served on projects for presidents, vice presidents, governors, CEOs, private sector, talking about what's happening right now. And the Sacramento Bureau Chief from the LA Times, John Myers. All of this talking about what do the proposition changes mean, how did the election, and then based on the COVID, there were some lawsuits filed against the governor and his actions. So if you get a chance, awesome speakers and a great program that should be coming. Feel free to click on the link that she just shared, and love to see you there. Additionally, going in on the Wednesday afternoon, we have a virtual mixer with our good friends at Carmel Nakasha hosting us to get together. We do these great kind of virtual mixers where you really get a great connection with 8 to 9 people. We put you in small groups and then resort you, so you get to meet some new folks in the community. So if you get a chance and pop on by, it's free. Join on, just register and join us there. And then just as an FYI, looking into December, we are going to do a multi-county virtual mixer with folks all the way from Santa Barbara County, North Santa Barbara County, and SLO County, which should be a lot of fun. But I'll get you more information on that as we get a little closer to that one. And then finally, as I talked about last week, I'm really looking forward to this, is a great conversation with Alice Dade and Scott Yu about just having to talk about how they've been working through this. If you got a chance to see our conversation with Scott, it was just a half hour and we really could have gone a couple hours on it. So I'd love to invite you to join us at the conversation with Alice and Scott. Should be a really fantastic conversation and really talk about kind of from the art side, what's happening, the creative side, how are folks being impacted, and give you a chance to actually have a kind of conversation with them in this venue. So it's a busy week for us here at the Chamber, and obviously we're going to stay right on top of and working closely with the city, the county on the COVID issues, and wherever we can be of assistance, we're glad to be, and hopefully fingers crossed we can get through this.
Great. Thanks, Jim. And thank you for featuring the arts in the Insight Studio. It's really great to see the Chamber honoring creative workers as well as just more traditional creative employers. So yes, poor Alice, she plays the flute, which, flute is a weapon in this day and age. So there are little bags that you can put over the end to try to catch the breath, but it's a very different thing when your entire livelihood and life's work is dangerous suddenly. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Well, I want to share with you a little bit more about our Light Up Downtown program, which is going to, in fact, light up our downtown. We are pushing forward with some really exciting activations. All of the events that we're promoting right now, actually I shouldn't even call them events because they're not events. They are just attractions for you to see. They will all be outdoors. All of our holiday activities this year are going to be with COVID safety in mind. So we're going to kick off our holiday shopping season officially on Small Business Saturday, which is November 28th. And we'll be pushing for people to shop small throughout the month of December. That's going to be a huge message for us. In partnership with Carson Butler Events, we have some incredible decorations and activations that are going to come into Mission Plaza. So we'll have Santa's house on display and children can drop off letters to Santa. And this year they'll be able to receive a letter from Santa in response. There will be no in-person visitation for Santa this year for obvious reasons. But we do have a really fun scavenger hunt family activity that we're promoting with the SLO Children's Museum. They've come up with a really cute story called The Search for Santa's Mouse. And that will involve 8 different windows around the downtown and a chance to fill out a little activity book. And we're also just inviting people to stroll downtown and look at the beautiful decorations, learn about holidays around the world on the banners on the light poles, and also just enjoy some additional lighting activation that the city has been investing in. So it's going to look very different, very festive. And as I said earlier, we're hoping that this will give people an opportunity to kind of spread out within the downtown while they're shopping. So if one store gets too busy, they can maybe meander over to Mission Plaza and then come back. This will also be a great way for the outdoor dining to continue to be enjoyed, especially if we have weather like today, which is a beautiful day. Of course, we can't count on that all throughout December, but we're very lucky to have a temperate climate and probably more nice days than worse. Although I may have just jinxed us, so I probably shouldn't say that. So we're looking for some help from all of you. We had a really fun photo shoot with Santa on Friday. Santa came in from the North Pole. And as you can see, Santa's wearing a mask. Santa also was visiting with a child who was wearing her mask to protect Santa, which is a nice message too. And we're looking for some help from all of you. So we are going to be decorating downtown on Saturday, November 21st. And if you want to come around and help us, we'll be putting up garlands and wreaths on some of the light poles, as well as doing some additional light up opportunities. We are going to be setting up Santa's house, and we'll be decorating our 20-foot tall holiday tree next week on the 23rd and 24th. So if you're interested in helping out in the morning on those activities, please let us know. In addition, as part of the decorations and activations in the Holiday Plaza, there will be a light show that will happen periodically throughout the night. And so we're recruiting elves to run that show. So if you have any teenagers in your life who are looking for volunteer hours, high school students or something, then we'd love to have them come out and help us out. And as we mentioned, Santa will need some help to prepare the letters to send back to kids. So if you're interested in helping Santa in that way, let us know. Cassidy is overseeing our volunteer opportunities. And I see the question in the chat. There will be a digital map for people to follow along for the Santa Mouse scavenger hunt, and also for the lighted windows in the downtown. And this is where we're all asking for all of you. Please decorate your windows and your buildings in the downtown. We're asking for you to self-identify if you are going to participate in the window decorating showcase. We will have just one contest this year. It will just be the People's Choice Award. So in prior years, we've had a contest with judges who go out. This year, we're just asking for you to decorate and brighten up your windows. We're also asking for property managers to decorate their buildings. And we're going to be bringing in a few nonprofit arts organizations to help activate some of the vacant storefronts downtown. If you are going to participate in the showcase, we ask that you please sign up. The link is in the chat, and we're asking for you to sign up by this Friday so that you'll be decorated by November 28th. Downtown Dine Out will remain in effect in the Holiday Plaza. It'll look a little bit different, but there still will be a chance for people to bring their takeout, their coffee, and enjoy our beautiful plaza throughout the month of December and going through this year. So look for that as a great way to take some takeout and enjoy our wonderful open space in the downtown. We also have produce available for pickup, although not next week, obviously, because it will be Thanksgiving. So you need to sign up by the Sunday in advance to pick up your produce. But if you work downtown and you want to get your fresh fruits and vegetables, sign up with us for SLO Veg. All right, let's move into our polls for the week. Rachel, if you could go ahead and launch those now. So each week on Zoom, we launch a poll. So if you're watching this on Facebook, sorry you can't participate at this time, or if you're watching later, but we're asking today, what is your level of confidence for your business and for the economic well-being of downtown in general? Now, last week we felt kind of, we were not as pessimistic perhaps as maybe we are this week. And so as somebody else said, each week can be like a year. I think it was Courtney talking about Dr. Bornstein, and that certainly is true. All of ontological realities have shifted as our relationships to time have changed over the course of this strange, curious year. So let's see how you're all doing today. It looks like about half of you have voted so far, and this snap is just kind of all over the place, which might be our general emotional state as well. All right, we'll give you about 5 more seconds to continue voting, and then I'll turn that off and share it. Okay, let's see how you're doing today. You're not quite as happy as you were last week, everybody. Sorry to hear it, but not terribly surprised. Yeah, things are kind of looking dark out there. But, you know, we also have somebody who's very optimistic. So whoever is very optimistic, please share with us your coping techniques in the chat. Or, you know, if you've had an extra cup of coffee or what your secret is, because we would love to have that optimism. All right, let's go into our next poll. So today, Monday, November 16th, what is the biggest challenge you are facing? Are you concerned about people, your employees, getting sick, ensuring that they do not become sick? Are you concerned about getting employees to ensure that you can have the staffing required as you go into this busy holiday season? With Cal Poly closing, that will definitely affect many of our shops that rely on Cal Poly students to be their employees. Are you concerned about a lack of foot traffic? Hopefully our Light Up Downtown program will help entice some of that in a safe manner. We are sort of given up, I think, on economic relief through grants and loans. That seems to have died off a little bit. There may be some hope coming in January through a new administration, perhaps, but it remains unclear at this time, and probably unlikely that there'll be anything happening in the next 6 weeks. And of course, our big chestnut that continues to really challenge us is uncertain consumer confidence. And there's really no predictor on this one, but you can have the greatest product in the world, but if people don't want to buy it, then that's a challenge. So I suspect that we'll probably be there again. About 4 more seconds on this vote. If you maybe turned away to look at your email, I do forgive you. If you want to come back to the Zoom and fill out the screen, all right. Let's end that. And again, the far and away the biggest winner is uncertain consumer confidence. I think we'll continue to see that as we move through the next weeks, as the case numbers continue to grow, as we see different states engaging in different levels of new shutdowns, and of course, as we see what happens when we go back into the purple tier. Thank you so much for participating in our polls. We appreciate that little chance to get a sense of your reality this week. And at this time, we would welcome any questions that you might have. We got some great questions earlier and had a very robust conversation with Lee and Courtney from Cal Poly and the city. Thank you for that. With no other questions, I think we will let you all go and enjoy your Monday. It is 10:51. Thank you for taking this Monday to be with us today. I hope that you have a great week. I hope you'll consider supporting a local restaurant for your Thanksgiving feast, and look forward to sharing more of what our holiday reality is going to look like next week as the decorations start to go in around downtown. Thank you for all your work. Stay creative and stay optimistic. Bye, everybody.